Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Off the Bench podcast. My name is Robert Tellers, and today we are talking about the most recent, most headline developments of the college basketball season in its first near full week of the 2025-2026 season. We've got a lot to get to. I've got 2 full pages from my notebook written down on things I need to talk about. It's been an awesome start to the season. We've had a lot of crazy things that have happened. This might be the greatest freshman class of all time that we are witnessing right now in this season. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch the rest of the year. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. Alabama went on the road into Madison Square Garden and beat St. John's on Saturday morning. Just a crazy, crazy result that I really did not see coming. Arkansas lost to Michigan State in East Lansing. That was a really, really big game. Duke beat Texas earlier this week. Kansas lost to North Carolina on the road. Darren Peterson put up a solid performance, but he was not the best freshman on that court in that game. That was Caleb Wilson. I cannot wait to talk about Caleb Wilson. He's a dog. Oklahoma got smoked by Gonzaga on Saturday. Indiana might be back. It is a great time to be an Indiana Hoosier right now. You got your football game in the top 5, and their basketball team is humming. Of course, I'm just talking about the one win over Marquette, but they looked pretty good in that game. Baylor beat Washington. I honestly didn't really know that was going on until tonight. I looked at the score and I was like, wait a second, Baylor played Washington? That's a huge game. And Baylor got the win. The SEC, has the SEC fallen off, ladies and gentlemen? Is the SEC not the best conference in college basketball anymore? That could very well be the case. We've got a lot to talk about. I love the sport of college basketball. I'm so glad it's back. And yes, I will be overreacting a lot in this video. It has just been a week of the season. We have to keep that in mind. There's so much left to be played. Nobody's season is over. Nobody is a guaranteed title contender. There's still so much left of the season to be played. So I'm going to say a lot of crazy things, but just keep that in mind when I'm having this conversation. But we have to start with the main topic of conversation in the college basketball season right now. And that is just the freshman takeover. And personally, I think this is awesome. I love when freshmen go out there and are just electric and they play great ball and head coaches trust their team and they put their team into the hands of these young freshmen. I think it's so much fun to watch. And of course, top tier freshmen are way more talented than most players. So we just get the most, I love freshman basketball so much. I think it's awesome. But a lot of people or at least preseason, the preconceived notion was there was going to be a big 3 in terms of the freshman class. And Darren Peterson, AJ DeBansta, and Cam Boozer. And those 3 were going to be sort of head and shoulders above the rest of the freshman class, which is also really good. But the big 3, man, that's one of the best big 3s of all time. Those 3 guys are going to be awesome. They're going to be the first 3 picks of the draft. They're going to run college basketball. And then, first night of the season, true freshman Koa Pete comes out and drops 30 points against the defending national champion. And the narrative changed from top 3 to now a big 4 with DeBansta, Peterson, Boozer, and Koa Pete. And everyone is talking about the big 4 in college basketball and these 4 great freshmen that are out here breaking down boundaries and playing great basketball. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not a big 3, it's not a big 4, it's like a big 9, in my opinion. This freshman class is loaded. Of course, there is the big 3, starting with Darren Peterson. He's looked great so far on Kansas, 22 points, 8 for 14 against North Carolina. He was efficient. That dude, he can score in any spot on the court. He can shoot really well from beyond the arc. He can create so much separation. His finishing is really, really great. He's such a great athlete, and he's a great mid-range shooter. He's literally almost Kansas' entire offense is give it to Darren Peterson, let him drive in, Flory Badunga's a lob threat, shooters around him. He is Kansas' team, and he's a great, great player. And the fact that Bill Self has completely given the reins of his team to Darren Peterson, that true freshman, says a lot about where this kid is, his maturity level, and how much he's going to be a leader on this Big 12 team. I love Darren Peterson. He has the potential to carry Kansas into really big and bright things this season, and he's only going to get better. So Darren Peterson is for real. I 100% believe in the kid. Debatably, all off season long, people were saying, is AJ DeBansta the number 1 freshman or is it Darren Peterson? Well, AJ DeBansta's looked great too. He's averaged 19 points a game. He's averaged 7 rebounds. and 3 assists, shooting 57% from the field. That is crazy. He played great against Villanova. Of course, he's a freak athlete. It's crazy how athletic AJ DeBansta is. He's 6'9". He can jump out of the gym. He's crazy, and his scoring numbers have been really good this year. Kevin Young is giving him the reins. He's got a lot of sway on this BYU team for sure. And he's doing a great job. 57% from the field at his position is very impressive. But I think the most impressive part that I've seen from AJ DeBansta so far is in their first 2 games that BYU's played, he has just 1 turnover. That is awesome. That means that he's playing smart. He's taking care of the ball. And he's only played 2 games in college basketball, and he only has 1 turnover. So to me, that says that his maturity level is really high, and he understands the game really well. So I really like AJ DeBansta. He's going to go on to do great things. The highlight reel of AJ DeBansta at the end of the season is going to be off the chain. He's going to make so many amazing plays. He's going to make head-turning plays all year long. He is awesome. And then, of course, the last member of the Big 3 in the preseason, Cam Boozer. He's my pick to win Player of the Year. I think Cam Boozer is so good. He's such a winner. And I picked him to win Player of the Year, and then in his first game, he went out and put up 0 points in the first half against Texas. It was rough. He really did not shoot the ball well in that game. He was playing a little scared, and a lot of people looked at that and they said, 0 points in the first half? Really, Cam Boozer? This guy's overrated. He's not very good. Get him out of here. The people that are saying that have not watched Cam Boozer. They do not know who this kid is. He's a 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year in high school. The only other people to ever do that are LeBron James and somebody else. I forget who the other person was, but literally the 3rd person to ever win 2 High School Player of the Year awards, and one of those other people is LeBron. So incredible high school career. He's still averaging 15, or he put up in that game against Texas when he had 0 points in the first half. He scored 15 points in the second half and still had 13 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 stocks. So he still had an amazing performance, even though he was lackluster on the offensive side of the ball in the first half. I still think Cam Boozer is my pick to win Player of the Year. I still think he's an awesome player. He turned around in his next game and put up 25 points, 4 for 9 from 3 against Western Carolina in just 23 minutes. So I think he's a dog. I think that from what I heard at halftime of the Texas game, he went into the locker room and Shire just completely just hosed him. He was like, really, dude? Really? Did we just pay all this money for you? Come on, Cam Boozer. 0 points in the first half. Are you kidding? We should have gotten AJ DeBansta. We should have let you go to BYU. And I think that lit a fire under him. I think Shire did a great job at halftime, and that's why he was so great. I really trust Cam Boozer. He's such a winner, and he's deserving of all the praise that he got in the recruiting class and all the praise he's getting so far in the regular season. And then Koa Pete is such a good player. I talked about Koa Pete for a long time on our last college basketball video. 30 points against the Florida front court is just unheard of. I mean, that's a front court with Alex Condon, Ruben Chenulu, Thomas Hanlockton, and Thomas Houck. The fact that he went out there and put up 30 against the defending national champions that returned their entire front court is just nuts. He's so efficient in that game. His footwork was beautiful. Literally, it was like the greatest performance in a freshman's opening game, like, of all time. That's not crazy to say. I know it sounds crazy, but it is not crazy to say statistically. It was unreal what Koa Pete was able to do in that offense. Also, he played great on the defensive side of the basketball. He forced like 6 turnovers from Alex Condon. It was him and Krivas, but he played a big role in that. I love Koa Pete. He's my round mound of rebound. I love the Arizona Wildcats team. I think they're so much fun to watch, and Koa Pete is their head honcho. So I'm a big-time believer in Koa Pete. Those are the big 4 right now, if you're talking like that in college basketball. But there's another group of college basketball freshmen that I think are on the level of these 4 players. And I just think they haven't played necessarily the amount of big games that some of these other guys have had, so they don't have any national attention right now. But I'm starting with Nate Ament, the Tennessee forward. He is such a good scorer. He's 6'10", and he's only like 200 pounds. He's going to be such a great shooter with Rick Barnes. He's going to slide into the Chaz Lanier role. I've talked about him in my SEC preview. I think he's awesome. He's so talented. Nate Ament is going to be great in the SEC. Michael Brown at Louisville. so good. That he's such a good point guard. And Louisville plays Kentucky in a couple days. That game is going to be just off the. Oh, it's going to be so awesome. Louisville playing Kentucky, and Michael Brown is I think gonna have a signature performance in that game. And the guys that Pat Kelsey has put around him. Oh, the Louisville offense is going to be so much fun to watch. Just wait. You're going to have to wear a seatbelt when you're watching those games because you're going to be jumping up and down the whole time. I love him as a point guard. Just great basketball player. Darius Acuff, Arkansas's point guard. Yes, he struggled against Michigan State. I'm not going to ignore that. But Darius Acuff is a great basketball player, and he's going to figure it out. This is just the first time that he's played with this level of talent around him. He's a true point guard. And yes, he got confused at some of the ball screen action they were trying to run against Michigan State. Keep in mind, that Michigan State team was they have so much experience, and they've played together before. And Darius Acuff is playing in his second game with a lot of these guys. So I think he's only going to get better. He's going to realize what is important to do with the talent that he has around him. He doesn't have to do everything himself anymore, basically, is what I'm saying. And even in that game, he was their leading scorer. He didn't shoot very well. He had some turnovers. But Acuff is only going to get better. He's still a star. And Calipari, we know what Calipari likes to do with his freshmen. He's going to get a lot of touches. He's going to command the offense pretty much all season. So I still really like Darius Acuff. Chris Senack on Houston, my goodness. I mean, Houston's my national title pick right now, and that's not changing anytime soon. Houston is going to have just an unreal defensive front court. And Chris Senack is going to be one of the main reasons that that's true. Houston, again, just hasn't really played anybody yet. They're going to soon, and they're in players era, so they're going to play really good at competition. But Chris Senack is another freshman that is just going to be so good. And he's a perfect piece in the Kelvin Sampson program. So, I mean, these freshmen. Also, Caleb Wilson. We just saw what Caleb Wilson did against Kansas. He balled out. He put up 24 points against Bill Self in his first game, or it might have been his second game. I think it was the second game. But still, I mean, unreal. There's just so much talent in this freshman class, and people say, "Man, the big three in this freshman class are nuts," or "The big four in this freshman class are nuts." To me, yes, they are nuts, but it's a big 9 to me. There are so many guys that are so good, and there also have been amazing performances from freshmen this year that just people aren't talking about because they weren't the most highly recruited guys. We saw what Cam Ward just did off the bench for Michigan State. We were seeing what the Virginia Tech guy from Greece, I can never remember that dude's name, but he is a bucket. That dude is going to be one of the best freshmen of the year for sure. He's from Greece. He's a guard. I just cannot remember his name at the moment, but he's really good too. I mean, there's just so many studs in this freshman class that are getting overlooked right now, in my opinion. I mean, it is just so loaded. So to me, right now, that is so far the biggest story in college basketball. I mean, there are so many freshmen that are going to keep improving this year too that just aren't there quite yet. Of course, Braylon Mullins is going to be one of the best shooters in the country for UConn. He's injured right now. He'll be back relatively soon, but when he steps on the floor with that UConn offense, they're gonna be electric. They already are electric, and UConn is going to be a problem. Let me tell you. Malik Thomas for Arkansas. Just talked about how Calipari is going to give freshmen a big role on this team like he always does. It's Darius Acuff and it's Malik Thomas. He's going to get a lot better. He's a great shooter, great scorer. They're going to learn to play together as the season goes on. I think Arkansas will, just like they kind of did last year. And I just think Arkansas is going to take off. Braden Burries struggled a little bit in the Florida game. He's Arizona's freshman point guard, recruited very high. He's another guy that's only going to get better. He's learning how to play on this roster with Jaden Bradley. I love Braden Burries. I still think he's going to have a great year. And Lord help me if I need to pronounce this Baylor dude's name. Tounde Yasalfau. Goodness, I hate that name so much because I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I could be completely wrong and disrespecting the entire Yasalfau family. But I'm just saying that dude's a dog too. Super athlete. Just beat Washington. Look out for him. The freshman class is just so much fun. That's overwhelmingly the top story in the sport right now. It's what everyone is talking about. So I just thought I need to give my take on it. I don't think it's a big 3. I think it's a big 9, and it could potentially be like a big 15. I mean, the freshman class is awesome, and I'm all here for it. I think it's going to be so much fun to watch the entirety of the season because they're also only going to get better. Like, these freshmen have no experience. So the more games they play, the better they're going to get in their respective systems with their respective teammates. So we're just going to go from elites to even through the ceiling fathoms that we never even reached before elites. So I'm all here for it. I can't wait to watch it. Also, next year's freshman class, not as good as this year's at all. So we better cherish this while it lasts. That's for sure. So I had to start with that. I had to start with the freshmen. But we're going to move on to some actual games, some game results from this weekend, from this week that I really, really wanted to discuss. To me, the biggest story, game-wise, of course, of the college basketball season was Arizona beating Florida. But I already talked about that game at length if you want to check that out. It's like a couple videos down. It's past all the college football stuff. And it's like the week or the opening day instant reaction video for college basketball. It was a fun one, but I previewed that game. But second to that, the second biggest story in college basketball so far, game-wise this year, was the Alabama Crimson Tide traveling all the way to Madison Square Garden and beating Rick Pitino and the Johnnies in their own backyard, 103-96. Yes, Alabama put up 96 points on the road against Rick Pitino. I'm sorry. But, I mean, this is unreal what Alabama's offense was able to accomplish in this game. And listen, I said it before, I'm going to overreact a little bit. It's literally the first week of the season, so we don't know everything yet. We can't possibly know everything yet. But this Alabama team is scary. I mean, we talked about the beginning of the season. My take on Alabama was, yes, they're going to score a lot of points. They're going to have a great offense. Their backcourt is going to be fire. It's going to be electric. But their front court, defensively and offensively, is going to be lacking. And I thought it was going to hold them back. And I thought their lack of defense was really going to come back to bite them. Because I really like watching defensive basketball. And Alabama just doesn't really have that. But it legitimately does not matter if you play very good defense. If you have LeBaron Philon going for 25 and Aiden Holloway going for 21 and Latrell Wrightsell going for 17 on the road at St. John's, these guards just played their tails off in this game. And a lot of people going into this year said Alabama had the best backcourt in the nation. To me, that belongs to Louisville. But Alabama, man, they are balling in terms of their guards. They shot so well. And the most impressive thing to me about this backcourt was they just played at their pace. Like, St. John's likes to play fast, too. They like to press. They like to score quickly. But Alabama pushed the pace so much. They were not intimidated at all by what Pitino was trying to do. Goodness gracious, I'm going to have a stroke. But, I mean, they shot really well. Philon just gets to wherever he wants to get on the court. He can score from all over the place. I don't know how he scores in the paint on some of those drives. Like, his finishing is unreal. Couple step back threes he hit over like Osiah Sellers were just so clutch. They were in such big moments. To me, LeBaron Philon was very inconsistent last year on the offensive side of the court, but he just looked like a different animal out there in Madison Square Garden in that opening win. He looked great. Aiden Holloway, I mean, he struggled a lot. He was 2 for 9 from 3 and yet still put up 21 points. And a lot of those threes that he missed, they might have looked like bad shots, but that's what Alabama wants to do. Alabama is running their offense exactly how Nate Oates wants it to be run. That is taking the first semi-good shot that you possibly can, and then crashing the boards, and then sprinting back on defense, and once you get the ball back, just sprinting back on offense and doing the exact same thing. And Aiden Holloway is perfect for that. Honestly, he fouled out too. Aiden Holloway fouled out and still put up 21 points. 0 turnovers, by the way, from Aiden Holloway. Alabama turned it over 7 times in this game. That was a huge problem for them last year. Only 7 turnovers in their opening game against St. John's, of all people, who forces so many turnovers. I think Mark Sears was a great player. Don't get me wrong. I think Mark Sears, one of the greatest basketball players in the history of Alabama basketball, maybe the greatest. I loved watching him in person. I had the privilege of watching him in person a bunch. He's a great player. But I think without Mark Sears, this offense kind of opens up to be, I mean, they pass the ball so much better. This Alabama offense is going to be one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the country this year. To me, the name of the game for the Crimson Tide is consistency. But the thing is, they missed a lot of threes in this game. They were 11 for 35. They did not have their best shooting game, and yet they still put up 103 points and won on the road against St. John's. So So impressed with what Alabama was able to do. And yes, their front court is not elite. Aiden Sherrill did not have a single defensive rebound in this basketball game. He's like their only really good 5-man. Taylor Bowen played an awesome game. I mean, he played so athletic. He had 9 rebounds, 17 points, 6 for 7 from the field. Bowen was all over the place, the Florida State transfer. But I mean, Alabama's front court, they do not have an elite 5-man. And I thought, wow, that's going to be a big problem. It didn't matter in this game. Yes, their front court got dominated. I mean, Ejiofor and Hopkins had their way with Alabama's front court, and they still won this game. So if they keep doing that, if their backcourt keeps playing this dominantly, it's not going to matter that their front court is a little bit worse. So if they can stay healthy and if they can stay consistent, yes, this Alabama team, if they play their way and if they're healthy, they can beat anybody in the country on any given night. And they're so much fun to watch too. So they're going to be a fun team this year, that's for sure. In terms of St. John's, honestly, I'm not really worried about this loss. I love that this game happened. St. John's is not going to get penalized for losing this game. They might drop in the rankings, but the AP poll literally means nothing. So that doesn't really matter. It's gonna be a quad 1 loss, and that doesn't really mean very much. So I love that this game happened. But St. John's, we saw what Zuby Ejiofor and Bryce Hopkins can do. They played awesome. Ejiofor was 9 for 12 from the field with 27 points and 10 rebounds. I mean, that's almost as good as you could have asked for from Zuby. He played an awesome game. Hopkins had 19. They can score at will. I mean, if you give the ball to Ejiofor and Hopkins, those guys can get buckets pretty much whenever you want them to. So, and this was a lackluster Alabama front court that they played, but still, I mean, they were scoring at will. So I have a lot of faith in that. Dylan Mitchell is another great player, really athletic. Is not the best scorer, but great defender. He fits really well into what Pitino wants to do. So I really like the St. John's front court. It's elite, that's for sure. The St. John's guards, it's funny. I don't think Ian Jackson is working out with what Pitino thought he was going to do. Of course, everyone remembers when the North Carolina transfer, Ian Jackson committed to St. John's, Pitino tweeted out, "Next great St. John's point guard is Ian Jackson. He's going to be so awesome." Ian Jackson in this game came off the bench. And yes, he was great. And yes, he's super athletic and he's a great player. But he is not the point guard that Pitino thought he was going to be. Oziah Sellers looked really, really good. He had 3 assists, but to me, the lack of a point guard on the St. John's team could come back to bite them. I think that's where some of their offensive struggles came from in this game, was they didn't have really a great flow. Their offense was, Alabama they can't stop Ejiofor and Hopkins, we'll just give them the ball. Well, what happens when you play a team that can stop Ejiofor and Hopkins? It could get a little interesting on the offensive side of the ball, but we all remember St. John's last year, they couldn't score. They couldn't shoot. I mean, Pitino, this is not my words, it's Pitino's words. When I see this team shoot free throws and shoot 3-pointers, I want to kill myself. He literally said it twice last year. They're not a great offensive team. That's not how they thrive. But I think he can make it work. I'm not worried about St. John's. I still think they're going to dominate the Big East. I just think Alabama came out and played with so much pace, and St. John's was sort of just taken aback. They were like, whoa, we were not expecting this. Because they play in the Big East. Nobody in the Big East plays the style of basketball that Alabama does. St. John's, I still think, will be a 1, a 2, or a 3 seed in the tournament. I think they're going to have a great year. They still have a great team. I think they're only going to get better this year. I mean, they're so athletic. They're going to be a good defensive team. This Alabama team just went nuts. So I'm not worried about St. John's. The next time they play a big team, I don't remember exactly when it is, but it'll be interesting. I know it's Players Era. They're in Players Era. They play Iowa State in Players Era. So that'll be interesting. Alabama is also in the Players Era tournament. But Alabama has Purdue on Thursday, and then they play Illinois and Gonzaga. So they've got their work cut out for them in the next few games. But yes, this Alabama Crimson Tide team is elite. That's for sure. But St. John's still is. I'm not knocking St. John's for losing this basketball game. Moving on to a little bit of a later game on Saturday night, the Arkansas Razorbacks traveled on the road to East Lansing to take on Michigan State, and the Spartans got a big-time win at home to start the season. Huge win for Michigan State. I doubted that this would happen very, very amateurly, I will say. The fact that I thought Arkansas was going to win this game, I didn't think about it enough. Because what we had here was a super, super talented Arkansas Razorback team that was very just inexperienced. This is the first time this Arkansas team has gone on the road to play a really, really solid opponent like Michigan State. And yes, like I said, they're very talented, but they just haven't played together enough yet. And they're playing a team in Michigan State that has a very experienced point guard, very experienced wings, and very experienced front court that has played together for a really long time, and it was at their own place. So to me, the fact that Arkansas had a chance to win this game at the end is impressive. But when I look at Michigan State, I had my doubts about Jeremy Fears. To be completely honest with you, I did have my doubts. Of course, Lord help Jeremy Fears if he needs to get a bucket. He cannot score. 35 minutes at 4 points. 0 for 7 from the field. Just could not score at all in this basketball game. But that's not what Michigan State needs him to do. He had 9 assists to 3 turnovers. Fears runs the offense. You can tell he's such an experienced player. He knows what he's doing coming off screens. Great lob accuracy to guys like Jackson Kohler and Cohen Carr and Carson Cooper and Cam Ward. I mean, this Michigan State offense, they know what they're doing. This is literally a Tom Izzo team. They were 1 for 14 from 3. This Michigan State team cannot shoot, but they can score because Fears knows what he's doing at point guard, and they have a lot of great big men that, frankly, just put Trayvon Brazile in the basket the entire game. So I liked what I saw from Michigan State. They had an identity, and of course, their defense was fierce. It was strong. They completely out-rebounded Arkansas 45-33. They were the more physical team. They were just much better in the front court, and they had more experience. You could very much tell that was true. And Jeremy Fears is just such a good leader. Again, cannot score, but a great leader. What else do I have here? Yeah, they just really went after Brazile in ball screens. Trayvon Brazile just could not defend in this basketball game. That was one of the main reasons that Michigan State was able to score a lot of points. Well, not a lot of points, but enough to win. And Michigan State's next big game, they play Kentucky at home on November 18th. November 18th is a huge game. There's a lot of awesome games on that Tuesday. So very excited about that. That should be a really fun game to watch, what Kentucky can do against this Michigan State team on the road. Big win for Michigan State. But when I look at Arkansas, I think a lot of people are going to be very concerned, again, because of the confusion that Darius Acuff had in the backcourt running the offense, and the fact that their front court kind of got dominated. And I have different opinions on both of those facts. First of all, to me, this Arkansas offense is only going to get better. Like I've already talked about, Darius Acuff has not played on a team where he is not overwhelmingly the best player and needs to do everything. I mean, he's great. I believe he's the best player on this team. But he's surrounded by guys like Malik Thomas and Carter Knox and DJ Wagner and Billy Richmond, guys that are really, really good, that can get buckets. And he doesn't have to do everything. So I really do think he's only going to get better. He was 5 for 16 from the field, only had the 1 turnover, but only 6 assists and 16 points. He just struggled. And that's okay. It's his first big game. We need to chill out on Darius Acuff. I think Malik Thomas is only going to get better and better. Just had a rough shooting day against a really good Michigan State defense. Not a lot of teams are going to guard on the perimeter like Michigan State does with their ferocity and just what they do at an elite level defensively. So, yes, I think this Arkansas guard, DJ Wagner played a great game, 4 for 6 from the field. He had 13 points, only 1 turnover. He played a great game. Billy Richmond, I think, got better as the season went on last year. I think we should see similar things to that. And Carter Knox really struggled in this game. He 100% definitely did. But still, I have belief in this Arkansas offense. I think it's only going to get better. I think when March rolls around, they're going to click. And Calipari just knows how to do that. He's a great coach when it comes to getting the best out of his team as the season goes on. Is he the best in-game adjustment coach and the best out-of-bounds play coach? Not necessarily. We saw that against Michigan State. But he is a phenomenal recruiter and a phenomenal talent developer, and his team will be clicking come March. That's for sure. Michigan State, on the other hand, do we really think this team has potential to win the national championship? Shooting 1 for 14 from 3? I don't think so. I think they're going to have a great year in the Big Ten, but I'm just saying, it's so similar to last year. People were so down on Michigan State to start the year. They had no returning production on the offensive side of the ball, and everyone was like, oh, they're not going to score points. well, what are they going to do? And then they went out there and didn't score points, but they played great defense because Tom Izzo just knows how to get the best out of his basketball teams. And they were a 2 seed, and they won the Big Ten regular season. So who's to say that can't happen again? I just don't think Michigan State has as much potential as Arkansas does. I think right now we are seeing peak Michigan State, and we are seeing bottom Arkansas. And Arkansas is only going to get better, and Michigan State is going to stay where they are. In my opinion, that's how this is going to go. But a huge, huge quad 1 win for Michigan State to start the year, that's for sure. Arkansas plays, their next big game is against Duke on November 27th. So they have a while until they play Duke, and they have a lot of cupcakes that they can work things out and before they play Duke. But that's gonna be a really interesting game for sure. Let's see if there's any water in here. There's not. Fantastic. Who needs water? We don't need water. We press on. On, I believe it was Tuesday night, Duke beat Texas. I haven't talked about this game yet, so I just wanted to give a couple quick thoughts on it. Of course, Cam Boozer was sort of the storyline of this game. 0 points in the first half, and then came out and put up 15 in the second half. So he sort of headlined things for Duke, and rightfully so. I've sort of already talked about my thoughts on this game. I think Shireman really talked to him a lot during halftime to get him focused, saying, dude, you're playing too soft. You're playing too weak. Go in there and impose your will and score. And that's what he did in the second half. Still played a great game. I still believe in Cam Boozer. I think he's a great player. But to me, there are 2 things that we really should have focused on when it came to Duke in this game. First of all, it was their amazing defense, which has always been the case under Shireman. And also, Isaiah Evans putting up 23 points, shooting 7 from 13 from the field and 4 from 8 from 3. So first of all, their defense. I mean, this Duke team can flat out defend. We know that. We saw that last year. It's back again this year. They are all so athletic. They're going to switch so many things because they can guard multiple positions. They just wear you down on the defensive side of the ball. Texas scored 27 points in the second half. That's just Duke right there. Their defense is going to be good. It's going to be consistent, and it's going to be really, really hard to score on this team. So to me, that is what is going to make Duke elite this year. Not only the stars on offense that are going to stand out, like Cam Boozer and Isaiah Evans, and maybe Caden, his younger brother, but maybe it'll just be, some other guys. Caleb Foster is definitely elite. Dame Sarr is so athletic. So Malik Brown off the bench is a solid player when he can get things going. And they have the 5-star freshman, Nicholas Kaminia. He's just getting 20 minutes a game, but he's still a great player. So I love Duke, but to me, their defense is what really makes them elite. And when Isaiah Evans is on, he is on. So if that dude is shooting really, really well and scoring at an elite pace, they are going to win games for sure. And I think a lot of what the problem was last year for Duke, of course, Duke, unbelievable team last year. One of the greatest teams of the 21st century. They were awesome. They were so talented. They were so deep. They were amazing. But the reason to me that they weren't perfect was because they didn't have an elite point guard to complement Cooper Flagg. I mean, Flagg was a great passer in his own right. But, I mean, Tyrese Proctor, I guess, played the 1. Not the greatest passer in the world, not the greatest facilitator. But that's why I think Caden Boozer being good is such an X factor on this team, because he has the potential to be a great point guard. He's not starting right now, but I think once he does work into that role, that's when this Duke offense can really take off. It's not there yet. I guess Caden Boozer hasn't showed enough yet in practice, but we'll see. Just more thoughts on Texas. They turned the ball over 16 times and were 5 for 17 from 3. That's just Duke's defense right there. It is electric, that's for sure. Their next big game is Kansas, also on November 18th, that Tuesday. Going to be a great day for college basketball. I'm very excited about it. Texas, from the field, in Sean Miller's very first game with the program, was 19 of 59 from the field. That is 32%. That is very bad. And yes, a lot of that is Duke's ferocious athletic defense. But man, 32% from the field is going to win you 0 basketball games against really good teams. So their offense, I think, of course, it'll get better too. None of these guys have played on this Texas team before, so I think that the more they play together, the more they'll improve. It's just looking a little rough right now. Texas also just got completely out-physicaled in this game, in my opinion. Oh, actually, wait, no, that's not my notes. Texas did out-rebound Duke, and they were a very physical team. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Who had a lot of rebounds in this game? Well, they didn't really have a standout rebounder. I liked what they did in the paint, basically, was what I'm trying to say. Texas's front court was impressive to me. I'll just leave it at that. Dalen Swain played great, 16 points, 2 for 5 from 3, 7 from 18 from the field. And Montaz, I'm not even going to freaking try, bro. Montaz Vokietite. Why do we have so many confusing names? The 7-foot sophomore from Lithuania, whose first name is Montaz. That guy's really good. He had 8 rebounds in this game. He played on the same level as Patrick Ngongba, I think is how you say his name. I'm really bad with names, folks. I'm really sorry. But what I'm trying to say is Texas's front court should be good defensively and they should rebound well. Their offense just has to take a step forward if they want to win games in the SEC. Moving on to another big game, an awesome game once again in Chapel Hill. The Kansas Jayhawks, in a battle of the Blue Bloods, lost their first game of the year against North Carolina on the road, and it was really fun to watch. This was a Friday night game. I swear, Kansas was playing really, really well, and they had control of this game, and then I blinked, and North Carolina was up by 10 points. So the Tar Heels really, really turned it on, and they went on a really good run at some point in this game. It was in the second half. I mean, they won the second half by 21 points. It was 58-37 in the second half. That is unreal. An unreal performance from North Carolina in the second half of this game. When I look at this North Carolina team, it is like completely the opposite of what it was last year. I mean, last year it was we got R.J. Davis, we got Elliot Cadeau, we got Ian Jackson, we got Seth Trimble. Our backcourt is good. They're electric, they're fun, they can get buckets, they're great. But we don't have a lot of defense at all. We don't have a lot of scoring at all with the big guys. That's what we're lacking. But this year, it's literally like the complete opposite. North Carolina's front court is electric. It is so much fun. I love Caleb Wilson and I love Henry Visar. Caleb Wilson went out there and played with absolutely no fear. He held absolutely nothing back. In his first big game as a Tar Heel, put up 24 points, was 9 for 12 from the field, only had 1 turnover, had 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. He was awesome. He was balling out there in his first game. And then Henry Visar is just so much fun to watch. Both these guys they're so athletic, they're aggressive, they play with no fear. I mean, Visar just tries to dunk everything. It is really fun to watch. I really like Henry Visar. He had only 4 rebounds in this game, which is a little surprising, but he played great. I think he was 8 for 12 from the field, so really, really efficient. And that's the other thing about these big guys. It's not just like they're playing out there having fun. They're also efficient at what they do. Although Henry Visar did have that one play where he tried to Euro step lay it. I'm like, dude, Henry Visar, you're 7'1". There's no need to be doing that. You don't need an offensive bag. Just put the ball in the rim, and he's really good at that. But that one play, I was like, dude, that's why you have 4 turnovers tonight. But they were great, of course, combined for 44 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, and 4 steals. So great performance from both of those guys. Caleb Wilson's only going to get better, which is scary. And Henry Visar is awesome. So this North Carolina front court is so much better than it was last year. And just a crazy amount better than it was last year, for sure. But I look at these North Carolina guards, and they still concern me a little bit. I mean, Seth Trimble, I guess, is the guy that's running the show. And he had 17 points. He played good in this game. 7 for 17 from the field. 0 for 5 from 3. That's sort of a theme. North Carolina's going to have to shoot better. They were 8 for 27 from beyond the arc. So if they want to be elite in college basketball, they're going to have to shoot better. And a point guard is going to have to emerge at some point. Your front court is not going to be able to just dominate everybody. That's not how the sport works. They're going to have off games. They're going to have games when they're in foul trouble. They're going to go against good defensive teams in the ACC and in non-conference play. So you have to have some guards that can really step up. Kyan Evans, I don't see it yet. I don't see Kyan Evans as the point guard on this team that's going to lead their offense. He's a good player. I don't want to take anything away from him. But I just think if they went out there and they got an elite point guard in the portal, they would really, really be a high contender. But they didn't. And that's my negative about this North Carolina team is their lack of a point guard. We'll see when it comes back to bite him, but I think it will bite him at some point. But still, great win for North Carolina. I don't want to take that away from them. They're going to be a fun team to watch this year, and they're dangerous in the ACC for sure. In terms of Kansas, of course, the talk of the town is Darren Peterson. 22 points in his opening big game on the road at North Carolina. I loved what I saw from Darren Peterson. He was 3 for 5 from 3, could shoot it really, really well. His mid-range game was on point. His finishing is on point. His effort is on point. And he put up all these numbers, 22 points, in just 28 minutes because he was in foul trouble early. He had 2 fouls in the first half, and Bill Self was forced to sit him for a little bit. But, man, this Kansas team is Darren Peterson or bust. That is definitely for sure. Without Darren Peterson, I mean, the offense kind of looks a little dead. But I do like the shooting on this team. Bryson Tiller came off the bench and hit 4 threes. He was 4 for 4 from the three-point line. Trey White was good. He wasn't great. But, of course, you know, the criticism of Bill Self in the offseason was, yes, you got Darren Peterson, but who did you get around him? Is this team really a championship team around your superstar and Darren Peterson? To me, I don't know if it's there yet. Of course, they got dominated in the front court, had 27 rebounds to North Carolina's 39, so they weren't great in that aspect. Melvin Council did have 7 assists. I think Melvin Council played really, really good in this game, just shot it terribly. So, yeah, keep passing, keep knowing what to do with the basketball, but just give it to Darren Peterson to let him do the shooting. I think if Peterson stays healthy, cross your fingers that he stays healthy, and if he stays out of foul trouble, then Darren, this Kansas team is going somewhere just because he's so good. They're going to be fun to watch. They play Duke, of course, on November 18th. I already brought that up. They beat Duke last year. Who's to say they can't do it again? And it is just so awesome watching Kansas basketball without Hunter Dickinson. The Dickinson era is over, and I can enjoy watching Kansas again. So that makes me happy. Another game I wanted to talk about, Saturday night, a late game. Gonzaga played great in their opening game once again. They dominated Oklahoma. They crushed them in the first half and ended up winning 83-68. Graham Ike, bro, how are you still in college basketball? Graham Ike has been there for so long, and he put up 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists in this game. He was definitely Gonzaga's best player. Tyon Grant Foster came off the bench, put up 14. That's the other dude who's like 26 years old, still somehow playing college basketball. So the Zags are good. The Zags are back. They're really well coached. They only had 7 turnovers in this game. That's just a product of good coaching, in my opinion. In my opinion, Gonzaga's ceiling is not very high this year. That could change, but we'll see. I don't trust their backcourt as much as I maybe thought I did. If Walmart Braden Smith steps up and plays really, really well, they might be really good, but they're definitely a tournament team. Definitely the favorites to win the West Coast Conference, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Oklahoma, Nigel Pack and Xavier Brown had good games. They were fun to watch. I think Brown had 21 and Pack had like 16, but they were 6 for 26 from 3. They shot really, really bad, and they turned the ball over a bunch. So great defense from Gonzaga is really the main reason all that happened, but they just sort of got overwhelmed offensively, and they got dominated on the front court. So rough start for Oklahoma. Last game I wanted to sort of talk about, or last 2 games, Indiana, of course, huge win tonight over Marquette. They dominated that game. DeVries and Lamar Wilkerson look like a dynamic duo. Tucker DeVries went out there. I've heard so many times, a healthy Tucker DeVries is scary, man. Watch out for a healthy Tucker DeVries. Well, we got a healthy Tucker DeVries tonight, and he put up 27 points, 6 for 9 from 3 in just 30 minutes of basketball. He was phenomenal. Lamar Wilkerson, 23 points. Listen to this. 8 assists, 0 turnovers. That is perfect from a point guard. That is exactly what you want. He knew what he was doing with the basketball, passed it really well, ran the offense, was very impressed with what Wilkerson was able to do. And Indiana, could they be back? Could they have finally found their coach that is going to click? It could definitely be true. And if it is, then Indiana sports is just going to be at a whole other level. Baylor, big win over Washington. Literally, I've not watched a single second of that game. I cannot provide any commentary on it. Just the fact that it happened. Great start for the Bears this year. They're getting really slept on in the Big 12 right now. They could definitely make some noise. Looks like their defense played really well against a good Washington team. So I think this is maybe neutral site. I legitimately did not know this game was happening until tonight when I was looking at the scores and I was like, wait, Baylor played Washington and won? Good for Baylor. So Will's grandfather will be very happy. He went to Baylor. Big win for them. Last thing I wanted to mention on the podcast, SEC this year. We all remember what the SEC did last year. They were the main story of the sport. They got 14 teams in the field, broke the record for most teams ever from a single conference in the tournament field. They were by far the best conference in the league. They were maybe the best conference of all time. This year, is the SEC fraudulent? Because they are getting smoked right now. I mean, of the teams that have played high major teams, like of the teams that have played Power 5 teams this year, Alabama went on the road and beat St. John's. Huge win for the Crimson Tide. They looked phenomenal in that game. All due respect to them. But other than them, the SEC has lost every single one of their games against Power 5 teams. Arkansas went on the road and dropped one to Michigan State. Florida opened up the season, the national title, or what am I trying to say? God, the words need to come to me. The defending national champions lost their first game to Arizona, the Florida Gators did. Oklahoma just got trounced by Gonzaga. Texas got beat like a drum by Duke in the second half. And Texas A&M just got absolutely boat raced by Oklahoma State. So Buckyball's off to a rough start. I mean, of course, I'm not really getting mad at him. It's his first year. He has a lot of transfer portal players. Will put it really well. You don't really expect him to be all that great in his first year. But the SEC, man, I mean, we forget. This conference last year absolutely dominated in the non-conference. They lost like 3 games against Power 4 teams in the non-conference. It was crazy. And this year, they've already lost 5. So it's very concerning for the SEC that the path that they're on, the trajectory that they're on, they're getting smoked right now. To me, from what I've seen, it's very early again. I know I'm overreacting, but it definitely looks like they ain't the best conference in college basketball anymore. Of course, the conference favorites, Kentucky, haven't played a game against a Power 5 team yet, so I know this is unfair to say, but I don't know. They're getting smoked right now. This is a new season of college basketball where the freshmen are running the show, where the SEC is not at the top, where anything can happen, where there have already been a bunch of awesome games, where St. John's is giving up 100-plus points at home. Just strap in, ladies and gentlemen, because it's only been 1 week, and we've already had all this excitement. College basketball is so much fun. I feel so bad for the sports fans that wait until March to watch basketball because they just miss out on so much good stuff. And non-conference play is going to be heating up. Tournaments are starting in a couple weeks. And we have some awesome games this week that I cannot wait to watch. So thanks so much for watching. If you're listening all the way to this point, thanks. That's awesome. You must really love college basketball just like I do. But if you take anything away from this podcast, it is that Jesus loves you. I think a lot of the college football quarterbacks are putting it really well. I think it's so awesome to see Fernando Mendoza give all the glory to God. Ty Simpson give all the glory to God. Dante Moore give all the glory to God. I mean, to me, it's so beautiful to see in the sports world. A lot of these people that have these great platforms are all giving all their glory and praise to God because we are all given opportunities in our life. We are all given unique skills and talents, and using them to the best of our abilities is honoring and loving God. So I just wanted to say, Jesus loves each and every one of you. Choosing Jesus is not an easy thing to do. It's hard. You have to do it every single day, and it's very difficult sometimes, but it's the only thing that will fulfill us. Is where true happiness lies. And he loves us so much. He loves us more than we could possibly comprehend, and he just wants to be with us. So again, if you take one thing away from this podcast, it is to grow a little closer to Jesus today, to say yes to him maybe a couple more times than you were before, and to just go make somebody smile this week. And in doing that, you're loving them, and in loving them, you're loving God. So with that, thanks so much for watching. God bless, and enjoy your college basketball weekend. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.